Hello, I am Donna from the Country Garden Florist, and today I am going to talk you through how to make a beautiful festive wreath for your front door. In our wreath kits we have everything you need to make your beautiful wreath. So we have our reel frame and our reel wire, and then we've got a lovely selection of foliages, eucalyptus, then we've got blue spruce, pine cones, which you have to have at Christmas, slices, fruit slices of oranges, limes, apples, velvet ribbon, feathers, and cinnamon for that lovely scent again. Some whole fruits to complement the slices, and some lovely moss. So we are going to begin by adding our moss onto the wreath frame. So we begin by attaching our reel wire onto our frame, and we're looking for this post, and we are wrapping the wire around that post so that it doesn't move. As soon as you've kind of put it around a few times going left and right to the post, it won't move and it won't budge, and then we're good to go with our moss. So now we've got our wire attached, we'll start adding our moss. So you want to take nice handfuls and just lay it over the frame. You don't want it too thick, too thin. What you want to be achieving is for the wires to be able to feed through afterwards. So it doesn't want to be too thick, but also just so that it's covering the frames. You go around the frame and you're taking your wire and just keep pushing it over and through, all the way around your frame. Now that we've got our moss on, this is our base for our foliages and for all our decorations, and this just acts as a nice fresh mossy base that if you were to keep it quite moist, you could spray it, you could dip it into some water. That will just keep your foliage going for quite a bit longer. But with your foliage, you've got, with what we're using today, we've got the blue spruce and the pine and the eucalyptus. The eucalyptus will dry out, but I kind of like that anyway. But the blue spruce and the pine will just kind of go through anyway, so you don't need to worry too much about that. What we do now is that we start to lay our bunches of foliage onto the base and start to attach them. The trick here is just to make sure that all your bunches are around about the same size and you're consistent with going around the frame. So I'm going to layer up each bunch, taking a bit of the spruce, the pine, the eucalyptus, and just start laying it on and then see how it looks as I go. I think what I'll do is layer some of the feathers in as a base. So we are going to start with a little bunch like this, this kind of size, and then lay it onto the frame, and you're looking to lay it on around about a 45-degree angle from the frame. So each one we then cut the wire. You don't cut the wire off, you literally just keep it going and then just add your foliage in. So that's kind of the first bunch, and then we just keep it going. As I said, it's kind of just keeping your bunches around about the same kind of size each time, because then you're not going to get lots of foliage on one side and a smaller amount on the other, unless you kind of like that look, as some people do. Each time you pop your foliage on, you're pulling it nice and tight, and then it will keep it nice and firm. Almost like a bit of a jigsaw puzzle. You kind of look at it and you go, oh, do I need a little bit more of that? And just add a little bit more of the eucalyptus in there. And you just build it up and using the different shapes of the foliage to make it come together. I always have a mirror next to me right here, so quite often I will hold it up in front of a mirror and just kind of see how it looks, if I'm getting the shape right. Lots of people like to have their wreaths asymmetric, so they'll probably have just the foliage and the decoration on one side, maybe just some other mossy decoration showing. So you can kind of finish off here, although I would kind of go the other way with some of your foliage and start to face it out the other way so you get a nice finish. But for this one, we're going to go all the way around. As we get to the last part of the wreath, we're thinking maybe here we might need another couple of bunches. But obviously at the end you need to make sure that you're going to tuck it well underneath, so you're not going to see any stems, it's just going to be a seamless round circle. So we're going to, I think probably I need 2 at this point, so I'll do the first one. If there are any gaps when you've finished, you can kind of look at the shape, and where you might see if there's a dip down, you can always push a bit of foliage into those gaps and the moss should hold it perfectly fine. So at this point we are going to make a loop on the back, which will be our point of hanging. So now that we've got everything attached perfectly, we can cut the wire. And what we're looking to do is push the wire through the frame. So we're going to go through the copper frame and then make a loop with the wire. See, we then just wind the wire around the base of this loop, and that becomes the place where we can hang it from our door. Now that we have all of our foliage on, we've got our lovely feathers in, we can start adding our decorations. So we have some lovely pine cones, which you would then wire and then push through the moss. So I've done some pre-ones here, but there is one that I need to add wire on just to show you. So you want to go through the base and just wrap it around those little parts on the bottom, and then it's not going to move anywhere, it's quite solid, and you've got a nice end of wire on there that you can push through into the moss. Now I like to group my pine cones, so then I push it through the moss, and then once it's come through the other side, we can wrap it onto the frame and push it back through, and then it's nice and secure. And then I'm looking at where it's kind of sitting. I like to go where that would be sort of 5 o'clock and coming up the top here. So when it comes to wiring your oranges, you want to go through the cuts and out the other side, and it does help sometimes if you heat the wire. So I quite often will have a candle next to me and I'll heat it up and push it through, because it does help to wire those on, and then it just gives you that long stem again where you can then push it through your moss frame, just the same as we did with the pine cones. So now you can see we've got our fruits on, but then to complement that we've got our slices as well, which just look nice nestled in between our whole fruits. And I kind of tend to put them next to each other rather than just on top, so they're nicely spread out. And then we take a wire and just feed it through the two and twist. And then it's got a nice stem to put through moss again. Apples as well, apples and oranges. And then we can't leave out cinnamon. So what I've done here is I've wrapped a couple of pieces of cinnamon with a bit of twine, and then we can take wire and feed it through the back. It's just quite nice and rustic. And then we twist it round again, just like we did with the slices before. And then we can add that in. I like to put it in between the pine cones because it picks up that nice browny colour of the pine cones. So now we have our finished wreath, which has got all our beautiful fruits and pine cones and feathers and slices and cinnamon. But we just need our finishing touch, which is our beautiful velvet ribbon. So I'm just going to show you how I make my bow. So we take around about 1 metre of our ribbon, and then I start to fold over and create loops, almost like a figure of 8. And then I just have to flip around a little bit until I've got just the right amount of loop on either side. And all the velvet's facing the right way. And then I get a wire, which is one of the more thinner gauge wire, and we wrap it around the middle of our bow, and then tighten. And then you can kind of fluff it out a little bit, so it gives you these lovely loops and a nice lovely bit hanging down as well. And then you can add that if you want it to be at the top, or at the bottom, or to the side, wherever you want to be. So I think they're going to go at the top here. And then I can get another wire, just one of the green wires, and I'm going to hairpin it. So hairpin is just that kind of wire, so it's folded over, and then take it through the middle of the bow, through the moss again, every time going through the moss, out to the other side, and then wrap that around the frame as well. So we have finished our beautiful wreath. This is actually our luxury version. So if you did want to use one of our wreath kits, then this is available to buy, and there's a link in the bio if you wanted to get one of these. And we've got this luxury version, which has got the feathers and velvet ribbons, or we've got a more rustic version with Hessian ribbons, but they all come with fruits and pine cones and all the gorgeous like cinnamon, so it all smells delicious. But of course you don't have to use these things. If you wanted to make something of your own, you can just go out and get a wreath frame, pick up bits from your garden, or go foraging and find lots of lovely stuff outdoors and make your own. Yes. Happy Christmas and happy crafting.